Do I love doing it? No. But
Watch your computer.
yeah. But yeah, I'm definitely good for it.
Ready?
Yeah, man. All right. So, it's Khalil Shakur. This is for our psychology. Let's see which psychology we're taking today. All right, today is Psychology 359. And we are going to do a coaching session with patient practitioner. All right. All right, Nate, it's good to meet you, brah.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, good to talk to you. All right, so today we're just going to ask a couple questions about perspective, and I'm going to record some of your answers, and then we're going to go from there.
Okay.
So, would you like to share with me today a significant turning point that shapes you in your life today? And your notes are right here, just okay, right, so you can.
Probably when I didn't do the best at like my state tournament my senior year. I came in expecting to win it, and then I unfortunately didn't do the best. But looking back, I think it was like a blessing in disguise because I think it's made me the man I am today. Made me like push harder with a lot, continue wrestling in college, and continue, getting a degree. So I think it was actually pretty good for me.
Gotcha. Why do you think that happened to you specifically? If you could point at one thing.
I think that for some people, they all need like certain things in their lives. I think some people thrive under winning like big things like that. I think that maybe if I won state, not saying that would have been like my peak, but maybe I would have like started like falling off a little bit, like maybe not have been as like motivated to like continue to go to college and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. All right, so moving on to the next question. What kind of values do you hold dear, and how have they influenced you in your life, like your value and belief system?
You always got to work hard for what you want in life. You're not going to get handed to anything. So if you want a good job, you got to go get a degree for it. You want to get the promotion, you got to work for it. You want to get that starting spot, you got to work for it. You want to get that bench press PR, you got to work for it. I think that just everyone needs that in their lives.
Gotcha. Has your value system changed over time? Like, do you think your belief system is like evolving or diminishing?
For that one, or just like in general?
In general.
Yeah, I definitely think that. I think priorities have definitely changed over getting in college and just like maturing. Gotcha. So with that being said,
yeah, I can understand that. All right. Describe a challenge or adversity you faced and how it's impacted your growth specifically.
Pretty hard when my first girlfriend cheated on me. That was really hard because, I was a young guy, didn't really know how to deal with emotions. So that was the biggest thing for me. The best thing that I knew to like deal with that was probably like lifting and wrestling and stuff like that.
Right.
I guess that kind of like started a way in my life where if I'm upset about something or just angry, I would just go get like a lift in or like go like get a wrestling practice in or stuff. And I think that helps me a lot, just like clearing my mind. And I think because that happened to me, it also is like made me tougher throughout life, and now like I don't want that to happen to me again.
Right. All right, let's move on here. How do you define success, and what does that look like for you specifically in the realm of wrestling?
Success is basically when, in my opinion, where you set a goal and you reach that goal. If you win state, and your goal was to win state, you have success, plain and simple. If you get that starting spot, that's your success. But success can happen in like little different types of ways. Like for example, if you're in college and your goal is to win nationals, and then you lose in the national finals, you still had success, in my opinion, even though it wasn't your goal. So I think success can be measured through a lot of different things.
Right. Yeah, I completely understand that. So reflecting on your past experiences, what are some lessons that you learned and that you can carry with you?
One thing I've known is like never let your guard down. You never know people's true intentions. When I say this is just a lot of girls and just like people I had as friends in general. Looking back, I thought I was a very good friend to them, and I don't really think they had my best interest in heart. I didn't really think they cared about me in the long run. Sometimes you just like gotta watch out for people like that because some people are just takers and they aren't givers. And
Yeah,
also,
can you explain a little bit with that, like a situation where someone took from you, and you felt like you felt like it wasn't fair?
yeah, for example, my roommate, my sophomore year, me and him lived together. I feel like I did a lot for him. We were very close. But obviously we lived in the same room together. I was there when he talked about issues, but I always felt like it was like one sided. I feel like if I needed to talk about stuff, he wasn't really there for me. And then I found out from a bunch of other people he was talking a lot of like stuff behind my back. So it's kind of just like, yeah, you're a fake friend. We've lived together in here for a year.
Yeah, be like, that's fucked up.
Yeah, pretty much. And then one thing I've also learned is like it's completely okay to drop people. I mean, I've dropped family members, I've dropped friends. Like,
Right.
I think it's completely okay if they don't have any benefit in your life. And when I mean like benefit in your life, I mean like not like them getting you stuff, but like if they just like have no purpose in your life.
Right. Yeah, I definitely can understand that. All right, can you talk about a relationship or a friendship that's had a profound impact on you?
My best friend Gia, me and her have been best friends since 7th grade, so about
That's a long time. Yeah.
9 years, maybe like 10. I don't really know the math right now, but she's just always been there for me. There when I need her. We give each other advice. Very close to each other's families, and it's just like a relationship, like just a really good relationship, pretty much.
That's awesome. All right, so what kind of dreams and aspirations do you have for the future, and what steps are you taking to achieve some of them?
My main goals right now is to win nationals for wrestling. I got 2 more years left. I'm gonna make it this year and next year after that. I've also wanted to start my own business, kind of like my own wrestling club. It's been in the back of my head. That's why I'm here, kind of learning the job aspect of it and the business side of it. But my main goal, I think, in life, especially for like a man, is to have a family. I do think that it's very important to have a family in your life. With that being said, other people might not want a family, but I think just having a family and just having that type of, what's the word, like, I'm trying to think of a word,
Like family dynamic.
Yeah, like family dynamics. I think it's just very important.
Yeah. So what kind of it's kind of off topic, but what kind of family dynamics do you think you want to create for your family? Because I know everyone's a little bit different, and I know everyone has a little bit of a different like belief system and background. Is there anything specific that you think you want to do with your family versus what might have happened in your family when you were a kid, or some things that you've seen in the past?
Definitely, from what I want to change from when I grew up is I grew up with my parents separated. I don't want that for kids because I see how hard it is, especially with me and my sister.
Yeah, that's hard.
I want, if I am gonna bring life into the world, I want them to have two loving parents that know that they do love that these kids can see mom and dad love each other. So when they grow up with that, that's what they want in life.
Right.
So I feel like when kids grow up like that, they're like drawn to what they see from their parents. And
Right.
if your parents are always fighting and stuff like that, it can create bad habits in their relationship.
Oh yeah, you kind of stay in the cycle.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what are some? I'm skipping around here. All right, how do you couple difficult emotions and setbacks in life? Yeah, that's a good one right here, man.
Pretty simple. You just gotta keep moving forward. I mean, I think it's okay to talk about your feelings, but as long as it's not like too much, you don't want to be like that person that always talks about your feelings, because then you're just letting them get to you too much and you're not really moving on. The best way is just keep moving forward. Get your mind off certain things. I mean, like I said earlier, I like working out, so get my mind off stuff. It clears my mind. Some people's could be something else. Could be something like reading or like like doing other hobby or something like that.
Okay.
You
Can you go into a little bit more detail about how you dealt with your setbacks in wrestling and like what they actually are for you? Like what? Because I know setbacks can be different from certain people.
like setbacks for wrestling.
Yeah.
When I had setbacks in wrestling, it is important to like mentally check out for a bit. It's okay to take like a day off, what I've learned, and then or maybe even like a week off. Excuse me. Which is completely okay. I've learned that you can, especially in college, you can get burned out of the sport really quick. Excuse me again. Um, when I have like major setbacks, like if I lose a match when I wasn't supposed to, or like not do good in the tournament, best thing is like, okay, I can't go back and change this outcome, but I can go back in the room and fix it for it doesn't happen again.
Right.
So that's my aspect.
Gotcha.
I mean, I can mope around for a minute and then I'm like, all right, let's get back to work.
I like that. All right. In what ways do you find meaning and purpose in your daily life?
I think this means a lot to me when you say this. I think that everyone should have like a purpose in their life. Doesn't really matter how much like money you make. I think that doesn't matter what your job is if it's not like your true purpose in life, which I think everyone has one when they come to this world. With that being said, I think my purpose right now is to help kids wrestle and grow as a person, about how much it's made me grow as a person. But yeah, it's pretty much what I can think of right now.
Okay. Okay. Take that all day. All right. What are your views and perspectives on death and the end of life?
So recently I've accepted myself to Jesus Christ. I do think there is some sort of heaven, and I do think you have to you can't just, not everyone goes to heaven. I think it's that, I guess you can say it's earned. I do believe that for like like obviously like other religions think the same exact thing. I think that death is not really the end, whether you go. I think before I even accepted Jesus into my life, I thought like reincarnation could have been a thing. I don't think that once your life is just over, I just don't think you're done. I think there's, whether it's going to heaven or, I think there's more to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely can understand, and I agree for sure, man. I agree for sure, and I feel like science kind of backs that up a little bit.
Yeah, I do agree with that too.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that. Like you understood that, like it's just not over when you're dead. One of like the very like scientific facts that I really like that lets me know that there is something after death is the fact that there's like the same number of atoms in like a dead body than there is in like in a live body. Mm-hmm. Like if you take a body that's dead and a body that's alive, it weighs the same. Mm-hmm. It has the same number of atoms. Like what has been lost exactly can't be measured with tools that we have right now. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's an interesting thing because
that is interesting. I never thought about that before.
Exactly, right. A dead body and an alive body have the exact same number of atoms. Like well, what was lost actually? Well, we can't measure it with a scale. We can't measure it right by like measuring the mass of the body because it doesn't change. So yeah, I think that's a really interesting thing because obviously a dead person can't do what an alive person can do. So I feel like there's a step missing. There's something gone that is very real. And it's like, where did that thing go and what is it specifically? And I know that a lot of religions have a lot of different conflicting answers for that, but I do think most of them kind of follow the same path of like the soul, or there's some kind of energy in your
I
body
do think
that,
there's a soul.
yeah, something that we can't really measure or see like with our like eyes and ears, but it's definitely there. Like
It
it's
is
fucking
definitely
there for
there.
sure, man. All right, so I appreciate you answering these questions. All we're gonna do now is, since we've have finished up the majority of the questions that I wanted to go into, I do have a couple more things that we should talk about. One of the things, I do want to go back to this question right here. Reflecting on your past experiences, what are some lessons that you carry with you? If you can think of a couple of different things that have happened in your childhood that specifically molded you into the person that you are right now, like what kind of stuff would that be? Because for me, being in and out of public school, I think made a profound change in like my personality and how I attack life. Because I was in private school first, or sorry, I was homeschooled until the third grade, and then I went to public school for 2 or 3 years, and then we went to private school for 2 or 3 years, and then I went to a foreign exchange school for a little while, and then I went back to public school. So it's kind of funny because I look back, and when I was in like the 6th and 7th grade, I was already doing like 10th and 11th grade math and science. So I never really learned much in high school, and in high school was kind of like I was going through the motions a lot, and I felt like I was smarter than the people around me, and it kind of made like a gap between me and my peers that I didn't really know existed until I got to public school. But yeah, I think that was a really interesting thing that molded me into who I am right now and how I kind of view life. So what are some things that could have happened to you as a kid that specifically have an impact on you today?
First thing that comes to my mind is probably my parents got divorced. I saw my dad like once a year, so didn't realize it until I got to like maybe like high school. But because I didn't really see him a lot, never had a really father figure in my life. So when I started doing sports, I was more drawn to like my coaches as like a father figure. I still have coaches I still talk to this day, like you, for example. I definitely think that has changed my perspective in life, because now I'm grown and I've also seen like these other kids that come in, and I'm not saying this is all of them, but I can probably guess that a few of those kids probably don't have a dad.
Right.
And now I'm like seeing exactly how much impact like a coach can have like in someone's life.
Yeah, man. Yo, that's, oh my god, dude, that's probably one of the biggest things I've learned as a coach.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you mentioned like fatherlessness, and you have there's a lot more work you have to do, for at least for men coming into adulthood when you don't have a father figure, right?
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to say it's easier for women in a single parent household, but for a girl, you can always emulate your mother.
Yeah.
And that's a really easy connection. But it's like, well, how does a woman raise a young man? You know, they're not right. They're not a young man, and I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
And you know, there are some times like when I'm parenting my daughter, and you know, I'm out of my pocket. You know, I'm like, well, this ain't what I'm good at. You know, it's like a mom deal.
You're better raising it, son.
Yeah, hey man. You know, if it came down to the cards, you know, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a really interesting concept, man. And it takes a lot more effort for young men without fathers to figure it out, and I do think that that's a little bit unfortunate, but it's a reality that we have to face, man. And I'm glad that you found some father figures in wrestling and you know, sports kind of teach you on a good
football
path.
too.
Yeah. So what about football? Can you go into football a little bit? Maybe talk about some football coaches that you had.
Not really much as football. There was one coach I had for my freshman and sophomore year, and they ended up leaving, which was fine. Stuff happens, but let's just say he didn't really leave in the most appropriate way, especially having like connections with these kids for a while. So that definitely sucked. I've had good relationship with some coaches. One of my coaches, he was also a wrestling coach. Still thought he was a very good guy, and I still liked him a lot. But it's mainly been wrestling coaches though.
Gotcha. Who's your favorite wrestling coach? Not me. Can't be me.
Again, me,
I
probably
can't.
Sean Kavanaugh. I still talk to him to this day.
That's good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like Coach Kavanaugh. I've only actually probably had one conversation with him, like face to face.
He's a good guy.
It was like in passing, but I've never heard anything bad about the man.
Mm-hmm.
And everything good I've heard about him has been like excellent.
Very good.
So
Yeah, he's good.
it's kind of funny how a lot of guys' reputations will precede them like that.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, Nate. So we're gonna call it a day on the coaching session. I really appreciate your time.
All right.
It was great to talk to you, and we'll get it going next time possibly.
All right.
All right, let's do this. Let's get out of here.